there, I'm H, this is Bud, and together we are Air Cool Bud. And today I'm going to be talking you through my top 5 tips how not to get conned by your garage. So tip number 1 is make sure that you get your car regularly serviced, whether you do it yourself or through a garage. Just bear in mind that if you take it to a garage, obviously it's going to cost you more money. So I had a quick look on the internet and I found a local garage who were offering a service, standard service, for £150. And in that standard service, what they would do is change the oil and the oil filter. And that's it, for £150. And you think that an oil filter might cost £15, £20 at the most, and for the oil it might cost the same. It's quite a lot of a markup they're making, but you would hope that they're doing a professional job. But for £150, I'd want a lot more value for money. So just bear in mind that you're only getting those 2 things done for that amount. If you want to spend an extra £30 at this garage, then they'll also have a look at your spark plugs and change those if necessary. Now, £180 is well on my way to buying lots of stuff that I need to actually keep Bud going, so I would prefer to do the job myself. But if you are going to go for a garage, then just make sure that you know it's a reputable garage, they have a good reputation, and you know exactly what you're getting for your money. As well as paying £180 for your service, they might chuck in a visual inspection of your steering, your braking system, and a lot of factors like that that regularly do need routine service, but they might not. So just check what you're getting for your money, because a lot of garages won't even talk you through what you're paying for. So tip number 2 is shop around. You're the customer and you deserve to get value for money. So you can either take your car to a garage to be serviced, whether it's a dealership, an independent garage, or a franchise like Quick Fit, for example. Each one should give you the same quality of work, but there might be a change in how much they charge you for it. Dealerships tend to go for the big bucks. Your local independent garage tends to be the cheaper. But make sure you shop around to get the right price. Tip number 3 is do your research. So whether you decide to take your car to a dealership or an independent garage or a franchise, make sure that you look at reviews to make sure that they are a good company and they've got a good reputation. So there are some websites out there that you can use to do that, including Which website, Good Garage Scheme, Honest John, Trust My Garage, even the Motor Ombudsman or Trust Pilot. And any of those you'll be able to type in your local garage's name and find out exactly what other customers have said about them. So tip number 3, make sure that you have checked and done your research. So number 4 is how to actually speak to a garage. So you'll find that garages will have their own language, their own terminology, and sometimes a bad garage can use that against you, especially if you're a woman. You might get mansplained, which is where they try to completely bewilder you so that you leave hoping they know what they're doing and just leaving it to them because it's too much to take in. So what I would suggest is, first of all, explain very clearly what you want the garage to do. If you want them to do a diagnostic or you want them to fix something because you know what the problem is, and don't back down, don't bottle it, hold your own with that. Next, make sure that they are going to inform you before they do any work. So you don't want to be getting a phone call 2 days later saying we've finished the work and it's going to cost you thousands of pounds. You want to make sure that they know they are to first of all look at the car, diagnose the problem, and then call you up with a quote. And this is the next thing you have to be very careful about. Some bad garages will try to give you an estimate. And estimates are just a brief cost out that they might do before they even start the work. So if they call you up and give you an estimate, then ask for a quote, because a quote is exactly what they are going to charge you without any hidden costs or fees. The next thing you need to do is make sure that they are using good quality parts. Make sure they're not second-hand or refurbished, reconditioned, anything like that. For my Volkswagen Beetle for Bud, I like to buy German manufactured quality parts, OEM, sometimes Brazilian parts will be good as well. I try to stay away from Chinese parts because they are mass produced, and in my experience, they often don't fit quite as well. They might be cheaper, but they don't always do the job. The last thing that you need to do is make sure they understand what timeline you're giving them. Sometimes you need to be a little bit flexible with that. But I had a message from somebody a few weeks back saying that they'd taken their Beetle into a garage for an engine rebuild, and it had been there for 6 months. That's just not acceptable. So make sure straight away you know how long it's going to take them. A lot of garages will have several cars in at the same time, and they will juggle jobs in between. So you need to make sure that if you need your car in a hurry, you make that clear at the very start. And if they can't work to your timelines, go to a different garage. And tip number 5 is know your car. Trust your own judgment. Even if you know nothing about cars, there are some simple steps that you can take so that when you speak to a garage, you have a little more information to give them. And hopefully that will mean that any bad garages out there can't take advantage of you. So the first thing that you can do is just identify what you think the noise or the problem could be, and the area that that problem is in your car. Then you can actually do some research online. So you can just Google, when I go around corners, my wheels make a noise, and it will probably come up with wheel bearings or whatever other issues other people are having. But that will give you a starting point when you have a conversation with a garage. What you don't want is for any bad garages out there to charge you money for things that aren't really an issue. So do a little bit of research online. What you can also do is get hold of a manual for your car. So I've got a couple for Bud, and the one that I use quite a lot is the Haynes manual. And the reason why I like that is I'm a little bit old school, but also it has a diagnostic section at the end of each chapter. So if you have got any problems, it will have those written down, and it can give you some ideas as to what the problem might be. Again, it's more ammunition to take into a garage. The last thing that you can do to do your research is to buy an OBD2, which is a scanning tool or a diagnostic tool. So this is a little tool. It has a screen on it and a few buttons, and then it has a wire with a plug on the end. And the plug will go into a little hole under your steering wheel on your dash. And once that's plugged in, it will read the ECU, the computer management system in your car, and it will throw up an error code. And that error code, you can then find out on Google what that error code means, and it will tell you what your engine management system is trying to tell you is the problem of your car. And then you can go into a garage and you can say, look, I've already done a diagnostic on it, and this is the problem that it's coming up with. Now, they might not agree, and they might still want to charge you up to £90 for a diagnostic that you just ran yourself after paying £20 for the whole piece of equipment. But it gives at least you a starting place, and it shows them you know a little about what you're talking about. So those are my 5 tips on how to not get conned by a garage. Tune in to the next set of tips and see if they can help you out too.